Hello everyone, my name is Vel and today we are getting onto the Cloud 9. This palette is the latest released by BellaBeauteBar. This was kindly sent to me in PR by Monolith. They said it's a one-time exception and I accept it. So this palette is the latest. This is first 12 shade palette by the brand and we are going to get into knowing it. It has quite a few nuances of work and quite a few things that you should know about this palette beforehand. So if you're interested either in the launch or how to work with that, maybe you want to expand your knowledge about the pigments and stuff, how to work with, maybe I will get you inspired on the looks. So if you're interested in any of that, let's begin. The clouds are talking to us tonight and we are on Cloud 9 by BellaBeauteBar. This is a very complicated in naming of the shades palette, but the color story looks like this. It's pretty much a cloudy something. The Cloud 9 is what we have. The shimmers are as usual very bright and very interesting. And I am quite excited actually to try to work with that because I haven't worked with that for a while and my skills must be rusty about that. But today we're going into the blues. So the blues is what I want to have, and oh boy, I already have my MAC Multi-Sculpt in Brûlé on my eyelids. I've made it a bit more interesting, and the first thing I will do is sketch out a little bit of the crease. I'm using the brow pencil actually in a taupe shade. This will help me. It doesn't do much, but it does enough for me to see where the things are gonna go. It's like a guideline. Nothing crazy really, but I want it to be present in order for myself to see where my crease is going to fall with the eye, because usually I have a tendency to kind of have a little bit of issues with raising my eyebrows, and from there everything falls differently. And if you don't raise your eyebrow, then it might be okay. So I am more or less prepared. And we go directly into the shade. Oh my god, it's so hard to read. I'm so sorry about that. Floating Feelings. The first, like a Bluebells shade actually. The blue one. The slight, I'm not sure if it's slightly purplish blue, but something in that direction. This is gonna be my first half of the eye. This is my moving lid specifically. So I'm just gonna place it there, kind of outlining where the future shape is gonna be. And I'm also bringing it to the bottom lid a little bit. Then we will go into the shade. And once again, I'm so sorry, this is very hard to read. Shelf Cloud. This is the darkest in this palette actually, and you have to be careful about that. And this is gonna be my crease shade. From the inner corner, I am bringing it outwards towards the brow. Then I'm switching the position of my brush and dragging it to the outer corner, outer third of the eye, under the crease. So it's gonna just do a little flip, and this is what we have for today. This is a very interesting thing in general, and these blues don't seem to be bad, but you have to pay attention. Most of them are pigments and they may remove themselves while you're blending. So you better tap it on to specific areas and to not move it from there. Just have to be careful about that. Then I'm filling out the outer third of the eye with the same blue color, just so it's gonna be there. It's gonna be the darkest part. And I'm gonna blend it together with the shade Cirrus, I guess, which is our brighter blue. It's not that it's needed here, but it's nice to have. Then I'm gonna be blending the shades here and there just to have it like that. And after I'm more or less happy about it, I'm gonna go back to the lighter blue, the lightest in this scenario, and just apply it back to the areas where it's supposed to go. So I'm trying to blend this whole situation, and I also have to be careful because the shades do remove themselves. They do not have attachment to my base because the base is setting into like powderish finish, and in such conditions the pigment will not stick and will be able to blend, but you can blend out too much and I'm trying to keep the balance in here. I prefer to blend on the powdered base or something similar because that allows me to move the pigment rather than to just stick it to some specific area and be gone with that. So I may have overstepped somewhere in here a bit, but I think it's okay. I can remove some of the things. I can blend it with an empty brush. I'm trying to blend it out slightly just to have it a bit more interesting, let's say it like that. And that's gonna be the idea of this look. Bottom lid is repeating the same scenario, darkest on the outside, the middle shade in blue into the center, and the lightest into the inner corner. That doesn't mean anything. You don't have to be very precise in blending that because we are going to cover it with shimmers anyway, and this is exactly what we are going to do. I will start with the shade Cumulus. It's very flaky shade, and I apply it first with my finger. This is not the best to apply it here because I don't have that much control over this, but it's kind of nice to begin with. And I'm quickly switching to the brush, the silicone brush, because this will allow me to be a bit more precise with my application, especially in the inner corner, inner part area where my darkest shade is sitting. And this will be like a whole lid shimmer. It's duochroming, I can see that, but it's very, very subtle in itself. Into the inner corner, I want to set the silver lining. Silver lining is just a silver shade, so inner corner will be just highlighted a little bit and not too much. I'm also dragging it slightly to the bottom. From there, I think I want to add one more shimmer. The darkest blue I'm not touching today, I guess, but the shade Emotional High is the one. It's actually 3 colors, but I'm gonna mix it all together and apply to the bottom lid and into the very center of my moving lid. This has a lot of light reflecting properties, let's say like that, and so it reflects the light back, and this will allow my eye to be a bit more interesting looking overall. So that's the idea of this makeup. I want to get this somewhat lilac-y blue into my waterline, and I also need to add a liner, and after that I will be pretty much ready with my look, and I will come back to you with a finished face. So this is the final result. I feel myself very blue and actually very pretty because this looks like a pretty makeup. I fluffed up a shape in some couple places, but it doesn't matter anyway. Not that anybody would notice that something is not intentional in your makeup if you are making it look intentional and not telling people, oh, I'm sorry about that. Don't be sorry about that. Just enjoy it. Some mistakes, as Bob Ross was saying, are the best things that can happen to you. This is not a quote, just an idea. So, the blues seem to work very nicely. There is the same situation with the mattes. When you apply them, you tap it. It's best to tap them onto the place and then slightly blend only the edges, because if you start blending the insides, they will start removing themselves because that's a pigment. Pigment usually needs something to stick to, and I don't like that. I prefer to have something more powdery, something more set as a base. For example, the lightest shade all over, or just a simple layer of the powder. The same way as you would apply the eyeshadow, I dip it into the powder and apply it on the lid. This is the way. Or I'm using the base that is non-sticky at the end. For example, this MAC Multi-Sculpt is not sticky base. It becomes more of a matte and satiny, and it's just a color. It doesn't have any adhesion to it. It doesn't make your eyelids in any way greasy, sticky, whatever. So this kind of becomes more of a powdery surface or non-sticky surface in general, and the eyeshadow, the pigments are gliding on top of it, which leads us to two things: that it doesn't stick to specific places. I also recommend to cover the whole eye area, so up till the very temples, from the brows up till the very temples, because if you will start blending into the area and something is sticky here, you will get a dot of stickiness and you will not actually be able to move it later. So I prefer to work with this eyeshadow in a way that I can move it around in the way that I need, and it's not sticking to a specific place in a very prominent way. Powder base. powder base is everything in this scenario. So they blend, they look nice, they have a pigment, they pretty much have a difference. The darkest shade looks quite okay. The lightest one is so far my favorite, like a bluebells color, and it's very pretty and I like it. The middle blue shade is a bit too much, but considering that we don't really see it in this makeup look, it's fine. And I still used it, so, and it blended with everything else, so that's a good sign, isn't it? And I'm enjoying the blue look so far. I also enjoy brown eyes with the blue eyeshadow, and that is why I placed the brown contact lenses into my eyes today, and this is what we are having so far. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. The mattes seem to work fine, especially in the technique that I'm describing. So if you're used to a different type of work with the eyeshadow, maybe it's not something for you, or maybe you have to change your ways. Not everybody likes to go out of the way for the specific palette, so this is really up to you to decide if you want to contribute to get into this whole thing. The shimmers here, I tried all of them. I tried 3, are pretty crumbly. So you apply them as little, almost like flakes, but not exactly flakes. They're just crumbling by themselves, and they become quite nice when you are moving them around, and they are sticking to specific places, and they become quite normal at the end. That's why I'm not saying that they're actually flakes, and they are not oily flakes. They are just crumbling in texture, like a wet sand, which is fine. The downside for me, it's my personal preference, this is nothing to do with the palette or Bella or whatever. I am confused on the multi-colored refills. If I have 3 more colors, split colors, I'm starting to think, how do I apply it properly? What is the way to apply it? What is the best way to show it? Do I mix it all together? Do I apply it one by one? What is the way? Like, I'm getting confused. I'm getting out of, like my mind is just short circuits, and I'm not sure how to proceed, and it's just, yeah, I don't know how to approach them. Because there are so many shades, because there are so many things. I have the same stuff when it happens with the palettes. I have too many palettes that lay around. I don't know what to take first, or I have too many things on my table, in my tasks, and I don't know what to take first, and I'm just getting confused, short-circuiting, and trying to go and do something else instead of that. The same absolutely thing that happens here with these shades, split pans, 3 pans, rainbow pans, everything just gets me confused. So my best approach so far has been to mix them. I'm just mixing the shade in as if it's how it's supposed to be. That's all I can come up with right now. So the first shade all over the lid was the Cumulus, I believe. This is a split shade of purple and blue that shift into specific other colors. That's the one, and it shifts, and you can see it. Then we have the inner corner of this one. This is silver that shifts to blue, so it's actually also duochroming. Maybe it has something else, but so far I only see the silver to blue, and on the swatch, majority of things, like the difference between colors is so little that you don't actually see it as duochrome, multichrome, whatever. It seems the most simple shade in this palette from the shimmers. And the other one is a 3 pan, so 3 sides, and I also mixed it all together because, like, I explained it already. And this is Emotional High, and this shade is very bright, and funnily enough, the most bright side of it is actually in the darker area of it. So it gives this glow in the center and on the bottom lid that kind of stands out. And because of this glow, it's just getting the look in a very interesting place, let's say it like that. So I love to get some of the shades from Bella into just very center of the eyelid, and the rest to be more smooth, for example, multichrome. So this is just how I prefer to work with them. Doesn't mean that anybody have to, but this is just what I'm trying to show, and I'm trying to, like, go through. Sorry for speaking so much today, it's been a while. So I'm pretty happy with the eyeshadow. I know that there are downsides for it, and this is just how you work with them, I guess. But so far so good. The pigment is there, the shimmering is there, everything looks fine. In my waterline today, I used the ice melt from the color case. This is this one, ice melt, and it's very nice blue color, and these color cases in the waterline and as your liner will withstand even crying. I've tried to wash them off and it's relatively hard to wash them off, so I truly recommend to try this. And actually Mitchell, I think, came out with Excel color case or something like that, like a huge one that contains all of the 4 previous ones. I'm looking at it. I do have all 4 of them, but I'm still looking at it. As my liner today, by the way, I used the Dark Soul from this palette. This is a gray color case and it's very creamy. It's so nice to work with. It's like creamy goodness when it's fresh. So I'm really enjoying that. It's not that liquid, it's easier to control, it's easier to manipulate, and I'm enjoying gel liners and cream liners in such scenarios because yes, it's just the right thing to do. So I did very thin liner in this Dark Soul and I have everything other in blue. What else do I have on my face? Tarte. Oh, Tarte in 12B I found as a better shade match for myself because ironically they don't have 16B in concealers, but they do have it at the concealer in the foundation. And 12B is the lightest, so like from what I can see, and it actually, fair beige, matches me pretty nicely. So you almost don't see the difference between my skin and this one. It's cooler toned, it's kind of the beige with a hint of pink, and this is what I'm currently, I guess. As my contour today, I have MAC Taylor Grey, just a little bit of it. I don't overdo my contour lately, just trying to keep everything a bit more on the blush side, for example. Picking up the blush, Kaleida's Mono Blush in Hot Shot. This is like a beige also, beige brownish blush. Very nice one, powdery. As my highlighter today, I used 2. It's a Pink Ice by Fenty and it's a Beach Balls and Broomsticks by Diveroon. I applied first this one because it has a nice pinky sheen to it, and I wanted something pinky because of this Cumulus shade having a pink purple shift, and I did that. But then I remembered that I have this recently, and this also has a bit of a pinkiness to it with the blue, and it kind of just works together really nicely, so I added both. On my lips today I have Miss Thais 780, the rosy beige pencil, and on top of that I've applied It's Personal by MAC. This is a liquid powder kiss liquid lip color. This is 5 ml and older formula. I heard that they reformulated this already, so there is a new version of powder kiss that is out, and it's more orange now. This is sad. Everything that I love turns orange. I need to check on my cats because I think Black One is turning orange as well, at least in his behavior. But anyway, that's all I have for now. That's all on me, and I'm enjoying it actually. It's looking pretty good. I don't have any problems so far. No creasing, no problems, no fallout. Like, there was a fallout when we applied it, but there is no fallout right now, so everything holds in place. So tomorrow we will do something else, probably with the pink side. I gotta see and figure out how I feel about that. So see you tomorrow. So I'm back with another look, and I did a test run for the shades, and I did not like their behavior, which means we need to change the strategy a little bit. Last time I've started with the pink, went to the neon orange, the coral shade, and it didn't work as I expected because it started to remove itself completely, and this is not what I want from the shades and how they need to work in general. Yes, this is how pigments work, but I'm just generally not very appreciating in this scenario. Anyway, we're starting backwards. I've applied MAC Brûlée, the matte liquid, and now I'm going into the shade Euphoria. I'm using flat brush and I'm tapping it all over the lid. I'm not swiping it onto the lid, I'm tapping it onto the lid. Because as soon as you will start swiping this, it will run away from you. It will run away from everything that we have here. So in this scenario, it only can be tapped. Ideally, it needs to be tapped to a bit more sticky base, but I don't like sticky bases, and because of that, we are dealing with the consequences. And so far, so good. Tapped on. Now we go to the pink. Pink Nimbus is the second shade. It's the same story. When you tap it, it's fine. As soon as you start swiping or blending, it removes itself. Usually this happens with the darker shades from Bella, but this time it happens with these shades, and I was not prepared for that initially. Anyway, we are doing the wash of color in this scenario. It's not anything that is super graphic in this case, so a wash of color. This is okay. I'm applying first as a hello eye kind of with a smaller brush, tapping it onto the places. Then I'm taking a blending brush and start swiping it around. As you can see, it blends nicely. It blends into nothing because you technically just remove a pigment from itself. But you have to be careful. You can overdo that. This good blending is always a tricky part, and the more you're gonna blend, the more you will remove. And then you have to add back, and then you have to blend again. And then maybe some pieces will be stuck. In any scenario, this is not the best outcome. And I wanted to know how the mattes work, and I think now I know how they work. I will find another way. With the second eye, I will have another try basically to understand how to work with them better. This is totally fine in my case, but if you are first time trying this and you get confused by that, try a different approach, try a different base, try different brushes. If you think that something is going wrong and you repeat the same steps of trying to make it work, this is how insanity looks. This is not gonna work the same way. If it didn't work the first time, some variables have to be changed. You also have to remember, this is like making experiments, making tests. So I'm making tests for you in this case, and this is what I'm coming up with. Anyway, I'm pretty happy right now with what I got. This is not as vibrant as it could be. On top of the bases, it can be very vibrant, but for now, I'm gonna live with that. We're gonna go into the shade Dreamy Happiness. Dreamy Happiness is a 3-part shimmer, and I will start with the golden one right into the center. Then I will try to take the peachy center of the shade into the outskirts of this round halo, and the very last is the inner corner and outer edges to be covered with its bluish part. So this is gonna be very washed out, very ethereal, so to say. There's still quite a nice duochrome happening in here. You can see how it just shifts and things are here, but I don't like the texture of this shimmer. It's very satiny and very powdery, I guess. It doesn't have the properties I love in shimmers. I guess I can say it like that. To the bottom lid, we will take the second shade, which is Prism Cloud. Same story, the outer part I'm taking the peach, then a lilac-y center goes onto the inner corner, and the very center in whitish that shifts to green will go into the centerpiece, onto the orange, onto the coral shade. This is not seen like something is happening. I'm not quite sure what exactly is happening here with these shimmers, but this is what we have. The last part, I want to add the Alpenglow and its white part into the very center, but I don't think it will make anything sparkly because this texture is different. And if the texture is different, we are not gonna get the result I want, which means I would rather take silver lining and try to tap it on into the center. Just a little bit, not too much. I just want a bit of glow, kind of sparkly stuff happening there to break the evenness of the satin finish. This is confusing, a bit weird to me personally. I think I will need a gray liner here. I probably want something gray or purple as my contact lenses as well. Then I will make another eye, which will confirm or deny my suspicions about this whole situation, and I will come back to you with a finished face. So this is my final look, and I can clearly see that one of the eyes actually look better than the other. This one is kind of, I already knew what I was doing, and this one is a bit of a testing ground. Even though this is the second attempt on doing things, and this is like a third attempt basically on the same look, and I figured out a few things about this palette, which I'm going to tell you. First of all, our mattes. I used 2 mattes. The watercolor effect seems really nice, but there are lots of buts. Don't mind me. This shade is the most unsticking shade that I've ever experienced in BellaBeauteBar. This shade doesn't want to stick on itself, which means we only have one layer to place it somewhere. That also means that you should not try to place it on top of powder or light shades, like lighter in general. This should be placed directly on somewhat wet base. Base that is actually kind of slightly staying wet until you set it. Something like this. So lock-in base, they exist with the skin colors. By data signature. This will hold this kind of shades and pigments because it's staying somewhat playable, like it's not completely wet, it's somewhat playable. And on top of that, you are setting it basically with this color. Oh boy, there is also something like a colored bases. Data signature also has these colored bases, and you can use that for placing the shades specifically. But with the white or skin colored, you will get an effect of placing it all over and working throughout the whole lid. With a colored base, you need to place it strategically, and I'm usually not that into it. So you need to put a base on, do not blink too much, and put the shade on with a flat brush with a tapping motion. Don't swipe, just a tapping motion. The edges you can swipe later. Ideally, you need to swipe it with the other shade. This shade has almost the same properties as the coral, but it's a bit easier to work with. The blues didn't give me any problems at all compared to these two. So I'm really confused how it happened and what exactly happened with this whole scenario. So strategy has to change for these 2 shades specifically. Somewhat unset base, not sticky, because sticky shimmer base can get you uneven application of things. If you use something like a Mitchell, it has to be first liquefied and then it will be okay to work with, or the paints or this kind of lock-in base. Then it will be fine, but it's a lot of dances around, let's say it like that. It's a lot of dances around, and this is not the easiest for me to work with. I figured it out. I see that it looks good. To me it looks good, but it was hard to actually make it to the point of me liking it. So base will ruin or make this work for you. These 2 shades are very specific. They are very pretty, but they are very specific. Now let's talk about the shimmers. I've touched the 6 pans here. So these are the 6 pans we touched. These 2 shimmers, oh my god, how am I showing it? These 2 shimmers are like a powder highlighter. Do you remember the Revolution had hearts highlighters that are also striped or something like that? They had been whole, and they had a striped highlighter as well in the heart-shaped packaging. The formula reminds me of that highlighter. It's very powdery. So this is like a powder highlighter. It's not emollient at all. It doesn't have any like binding agent. You need to work it into your eyelid as well. So in this scenario, shimmer base, shimmer glue, glitter glue, whatever, will work in your favor because it's not a emollient thing and it's very powdery, and you need it to stick. The downside for me personally is that it's separated into 3 colors, so I'm usually getting confused how to use it properly in such scenarios. So I applied it one by one. I've seen the Chinese bloggers, beauty influencers, whatever, just to swipe the whole thing and place it on their lids. This will not work on me because anatomy is different. I would have to really like stretch out the lid and then go with the finger all over this thing because it's not like easy swipe. But this is one of the ways to apply this eyeshadow, and the other way is what I did with placing it one by one into the areas where I need it. So I placed the orange one, which shifts to yellow, as you can see also here, yellow and greenish something. And I placed it in the center the same way. I had to rub it into so it sticks. Then I used the second shade, did the same around, and then the very last piece here, it's also having like a peachy base and purple, it's glowing purple. You can see how glowy it is here. Purple and blue shift. It's very pretty, but it's a highlighter texture. This is not something that I've seen before in the palettes by BellaBeauteBar, but to be fair, I have a lot of them, but I didn't touch a lot of them. So maybe it already happened at some point and I just didn't notice because I didn't review them for such a long time. But here we are. This shade and this shade specifically. Also, this one is very similar. They will win more if you apply them to the shimmering base, to the glitter glue or something like that, because they are very powdery and you can use them as highlighters without problems at all. So as highlighters, they will work, no questions. Then we have the quite regular, more shimmering, this one, this one, this one, and this one. I used this part, the whitish part of this split shade Afterglow, and part of this shade on the center of the eyelids, as I also mentioned when we were doing it. And I used the shade Afterglow as my highlighter today as well. So you can see I just stretched it and blended it, and this is a highlighting. This is fine. This is fine. Reminds me of that comics. This is fine. Yeah, but overall, I would say that I made it work. It looks good to me right now. I'm happy with the final result. If you're not sure if you're liking it, maybe try to finish it first and see if it's actually something decent or not. This is a very pretty sunset makeup at the end, but getting here, trying to understand how to work with these shades was quite a work. So now you also know how to better work with these shades. And I am enjoying the look. No, what's left is to enjoy the look. That's all I can do. My eyeliner today is Inglot number 78. It's a gray one. I did like a puppy liner, basically, very small one, to not get away from this very pretty eyes. What else do I have on my face? Tarte Shape Tape in 12B. 12B and 20B are very close to each other. One is just a bit lighter and actually matches me better. 20B oxidizes. It's like in a previous video was told, it's a Trump Pro shade because it becomes fucking orange. I'm so sorry for swearing about that, but I cannot find other words. Oh boy. Then I have Taylor Gray by MAC as my contour today, just this little guy, the multi-sculpt. And it's been living on my face for a while, so it's almost not seen. Then as a blush I used the Baked Blush face and cheek palette, also by Bella, and I used the shade Strudel and Macaron. These two is what I used. They also kind of, this one and this one actually will match the eyes very, very nicely. I think that actually it will be easier to work with these blush shades than with the pigments. Yeah. Anyway, these two are the ones I used actually, because I needed something a bit lighter than this, and I think it worked. As I said, Afterglow, one of the parts of Afterglow was my highlighter today, and on my lips I have Colourpop 951 as the lip liner, and on top of that I placed Bubblegum Burst by NYX Lip Ivy Bubblegum Burst, just slightly more pink than anything else. So I'm pretty happy with everything so far. I think it looks good. It does feel good as well, but getting here, that was an adventure. So so far okay. We will do another look tomorrow together, and I will tell you everything that I think about this whole situation, or everything. So wait for me and I will be back. Okay, this is our last makeup look together and last in this, in general in this series with this palette. And I want to test my theory. So I have the lock-in base in Scent Seal. I'm gonna use it. This is not completely drying base, so it stays kind of sticky, and we will test the things on it. So I'm gonna apply a little bit onto the back of my hand, and I tap my finger onto it, trying to get the amount onto the finger, because that will allow me to distribute it better. I'm usually using my ring finger because it's one of the weakest fingers, so you don't tap too much, and it's just why it's used usually. I'm gonna apply it all over my lid, and not waiting when it's set, not waiting for anything, we are gonna go right into the shadow. So I'm taking the shade Euphoria with my brush and applying it to the inner corner. As you can see, it sticks to the base normally and it doesn't behave weirdly. So I think my theory here will work as expected, and let's just try to make it work. So Euphoria goes first, then I'm going to go with a pink Nimbus. With a fluffy brush you will not get as much pigment, and this is just for kind of trying to match it, kind of trying to bring the things in. It's not final, but it's gonna be like a kind of an outline, let's say it like that. And then I'm gonna switch to the brush that is a bit more dense, but not exactly blending brush. So with one of the sides of it, I'm gonna go to the floating feeling and apply this shade as a third shade into the center of the eye. And now I'm gonna turn it around and go into the pink feeling and tap shades one to another. So this way I'm mixing them together. As you can see, they are mixing together actually. This works, and the pigment gets within each other and they produce a third shade, which is a purple in this case. Very nice shade of purple actually. So I'm gonna interchange them a little bit, of floating feelings, with the pink Nimbus, because that's how you achieve the mixing, achieve the blend. And I'm tapping them onto each other because if I start swiping, the pigment may run away, which is not the desired outcome in this case. Once I'm more or less happy with that, I'm gonna go into the shade Shelf Cloud. This is the darkest blue, and this is gonna be my outer corner area and bottom lash line, bottom lid, so I can blend the things onto it. And this shade is a bit more tricky to blend with the previous one because while the floating feelings and pink Nimbus are approximately on the same level of darkness, this one is darker, so you may not achieve the same results, but it is blendable into this whole scenario. You just have to work carefully and then it will be fine. Okay, so I'm trying to blend things together. I'm getting back to the light blue floating feelings and then to the dark one, and it's overall start to look how I want it to look. As the last shade from the mattes, it's the Cirrus, something like that. Cirrus. I'm not sure about the pronunciation of this one, sorry about that. And this is the bright blue, which I'm going to apply to the bottom lid. I'm trying to blend it together with the Euphoria, but I don't think they will actually produce anything meaningful in this scenario. So it doesn't matter, I'm going to place it just slightly under the Euphoria, that way it's a bit more interesting. Let's say it like that. So I'm going back to pink Nimbus to blend it around because I'm also using the flat, not the flat, I'm using the empty brush in order to achieve some blending on the outside areas where I don't need pigment at all, so I can just kind of swoosh it away, and that will allow me to just not have anything in there because you can literally wipe away the pigment with the brush. And then as I said, going to the pink Nimbus and just blending the area slightly. At this point, I think we're ready for our shimmers, and we will start with the Head in the Clouds. Head in the Clouds is pretty dark. It's a bit crumbly, but it's something that I'm more used to in Bella's shimmers in general. I'm gonna apply it to the outer edge and to the bottom lid because that's gonna be the darkest. It's also the blue one, and I think it fits here nicely, just generally fits here. It's kind of pretty shade and it turns into pink or into purple. Let's just do a chroming one. It's probably multi-chroming, but it's darker. Then I will go into the shade. I will try the shade Alpenglow, but this bluish green doesn't fit into my liking in this case. I think it's not producing any meaningful results for me for this look specifically, so I'm gonna switch and take the Cumulus and its purple part specifically. The lightest part of Afterglow goes into the inner corner. It's just going to highlight the corner a little bit. It doesn't fit that nicely in there, but you know, we have to take it somewhere. And then the shade Cumulus and the purple part of it, I'm going to apply pretty much all over the lid. I think it's duochroming into something yellow, but it's very subtle. And look at the texture. This is like a flowery texture of highlighters, like baked highlighters are specifically like that. For example, the RTT Cosmetics came out with a highlighter that feels almost exactly like that, and it's like an older formula for shimmers. You can make it more polished with your finger, but generally I just don't like this texture at all, and it's not my favorite, and I'm not a fan of it. But you can work with it anyway. So I'm going to apply that, and onto the orange in the inner corner I'm going to apply the center shade of a Dreamy Happiness, because that's just fitting in there. And that will be pretty much it. I think I don't need anything else, but I have to say that I like this in matte more than I like it with a shimmer. I think it's just kind of soapy and it's not the best. So it's dreamy, yes, but it's very soapy, kind of out of focus for me, which I'm not a fan of. I like things to be in focus, and this is why it's just giving me weird feeling. I would still do eyeliner on this eye, probably black. I think it will be okay. And I will do the second eye, of course, out of camera and come back to you with the finished face. This is my last look with the palette, and as you can see, it was pretty much a successful attempt, and I finally figured out how to work with that, and I'm ready to tell you all about that. So far, so good. It doesn't look bad. I like the matte version a bit more because it's a bit more prominent. This one is kind of muted because of the shimmers. They do not crease, they do not have problems, they're not actually oily at all, especially the ones that I used, the ones that are more like a flowery. And it seems good, it looks good, but tell me that is not Dark Dreamscape in the color theme. Like, I did similar look with the purples and orange in the corner with Dark Dreamscape, and I feel like I'm back at it, because that's just what it is. This is the lightest shade, where else will you place it? So I'm having quite a weird impression of this thing, and I will tell you about that after this description of the main makeup look. So far, doesn't look bad, it works. I found a way to work with them. It seems okay. We will discuss the formulas a bit later. What else do I have in my face? I am full of Tarte concealer. This is a 12B light shade, quite light. I like it. Then I have my Shea Glam contour in soft tan. I think it's supposed to be expired already, but whatever. It's not expired until I say it expired. Then I have my blush from the Baked Blush palette. I probably went a bit overboard with that, but that's the shade Muffin from here. Muffin is here in the center. This is a very pink shade, and as you can see, I have very pink cheeks. Then as my highlighter, I have Beach Balls and Broomsticks, purple part by Diveroon. I think it matches the eye look pretty nicely, so this one works nice with this. On my lips today I have Miss Size 776 and just some lip gloss Peptide Balm in the shade Glintwine. So it's a bit more of a cocoa powder shade to me, so I don't see it as a glue wine or mulled wine at all, but it's not bad and it feels nice. That's the only thing. This was sent to me specifically by my friend, so it's not available for purchase freely, so no point of telling more about this brand or anything. So I have everything and I'm ready to talk about the palette. Let's start as well as usual with the packaging. First of all, it was sent to me by Monolith. I've asked to buy it before the release, and they were kind enough to send this to me. This is probably a one-time thing. I'm not in a PR for BellaBeauteBar or Monolith itself, so I don't have hopes really for that. This is how the palette looks. This is a sleeve for it, and this is the palette itself. It's relatively sturdy, like it's really sturdy by the packaging. It's nice, thick cardboard. This repeats the information here and here, 134 grams, which doesn't tell me much. Like, I don't need to know the weight of the whole palette. I need the weight of the product in it. But I would assume this is 1.3 gram per refill. So we have nice on cloud 9 cloud theme in general. This is the first 12 shade palette by the brand. They have 9 shade, then they have 15 shade, they have 16 shades, they have 20, I think they have 30, they have the tabletop of, I don't even know how much, but it's huge. And this is the first that is 12 shades. The palette we have is looking like this. Nice mirror, nice looking font. Horrible to read. This is almost impossible to read normally because of how calligraphic it is. So don't mind me, it's my personal problem after all. And these are the 12 shades that we have here. This palette reminds me of combination of Dark Dreamscape and Ocean Jewel. These parts here with the blues are from Ocean Jewel, kind of, they're close to that area. And these are from Dark Dreamscape, in my personal opinion, because I have a strong vibe of a Dark Dreamscape from these shades specifically. So I see this palette as an extension of the existing palettes rather than a one separate palette. Of course, the shades work together nicely, so you can see that I've mixed things and they work, because also by the color wheel, from the coral to pink to blues, it's totally fine. You can create a purple in between them, so they work. By the coloristics, it's fine. It's not completely self-sufficient palette. There is no light shade in mattes, there is no light enough, I mean, to blend into the skin. There is no dark enough shade to blend for the darkening. This is it's close to dark, but it's not actually dark, you know. This is more of a medium. These are what I would consider lighter shades. This one is also slightly more medium. This one is lighter shade, but it's more a neon-y coral rather than anything else. Overall, the color story works. So this way I cannot say anything. And the formula of the mattes is, I don't have a proper description of what I think about this formula. I don't think it's kind of old, but it's powdery. It's really powdery, and it doesn't work on powdered surface. So normally when I work with BellaBeauteBar, I'm using the light shade all over or a powder all over, and then I start with blending some shades, like darker shades. In this case, even the lighter shades do not stick to powdered surface. It's a pigment and you need a specific base to make them stick. I would not recommend straight up glue, like a glitter glue or the shimmer base, but something like a Tarte concealer or Day-Day lock-in base. They are staying somewhat wet, not horribly sticky, but somewhat wet. And this is the surface on which you can glue the pigment and work with it. These pigments do not like to be bothered with fluffy blending brushes. They will go away from your lid when you use this blending motion that is typical. But if you use a tapping motion and you tap one onto another, they will blend together and they will blend in general. So they will stick and they will be able to blend. So working with these shades, you need to keep technique in a specific way, and you need to have a base. I also would not recommend something like this. Big fluffy brushes are not it, but something more with a flat surface on one side, so flat, semi-flat brush, or a flat brush is also okay. Completely flat, probably not gonna be my favorite, but you can use something like that. See, it's relatively thin, but still has a flat surface, so you can tap the shade into place. You need to think about your makeup beforehand, where you will place each shade. Then you place them in a specific way and then you blend them between themselves with a same tapping motion. This tapping motion is the only thing that is actually kind of annoying a bit, but you have to switch technique in order to accommodate some of these things. I figured it out through working with them in these 3 looks. So the first one I was working with the blue ones. Blue ones had no problems for me at all, but as soon as I started with this guy, I figured out that it's gonna be an issue. And if you do not stick it onto the base, it will remove itself into nothing. Like it's completely powdery surface without a pigment. I faced this for the first time probably in Bella's palettes. I don't know if this happened before in some other palettes because I didn't touch many of them. But this is weird, but there is a way to work with them. So they do work fine when you know the technique. But if you don't want to do this, if it's not something you usually do, if you don't have the brushes, if you don't have these bases, this is probably something that's going to give you a hard time working with them. So it's really up to you to decide if you want this problem. Not so much of a problem, but like specifics. It's a nuance of the palette, nuance of the shade, and I just try to tell you how to work with that because it's what I'm facing. And I'm always trying to find a way how to work with specific shades because it's usually user error or some of the parts of the process, parts of the preparation for the work that is just making this unbearable. So overall fine, color story works, shades work on a specific base with specific motions, so technique matters. Shimmers, let's talk about shimmers. So these two are the typical Bella shimmers as a formula, so you will not face any differences between what you had before and these ones. However, they are very crumbly. They are truly very crumbly, these two. These three actually, they are crumbly. And they are cute, like they can work on themselves. You can do a very nice blue smoky eyes, for example, the sparkly one that is shifting to purple, from blue to purple. You can get something very nicely. This one is like a pinkish champagne, and this one is blue to green, so it has a green in it. I'm not the biggest fan of split shades or combined shades or marbled shades because that just confuses my brain, and I'm not good enough in applying them with like swiping and applying like that. So I'm usually trying to get them one by one. With this it's a bit of a problem, so I prefer when the shade is whole. So this one is totally fine for me. This one is also totally fine for me. This kind of is tolerable, but when they become three or rainbow, it's a bit more problematic. Personal preference, nothing about the palette itself, personal preference. So these three are crumbly, but closer to the normal formula for the Bella. The other four that we have here, these are the four. They are like powdery highlighters, like relatively old powdery highlighter formula. Sometimes also baked highlighters can have this problem. They are flowery by the texture. You will have some problems with applying them with the brush because you need to polish them into the skin. When you polish them into the skin, they give no problems, but they are a bit more, like from afar, it's a bit more subtle. They don't give the same as these ones, which I really like about Bella shimmers. Normally, they are right into your face. They're very seen, they are very prominent, they have multi-chroming craziness in them. These are more subtle, they are still duochroming and doing this kind of things, but they are flowery. And I'm not the biggest fan of this formula because this just looks, and this is not what I'm searching for in Bella's stuff, and it also kind of deems the mattes a bit because mattes are vibrant, but when you apply the shade on top, it becomes more subtle, a bit more ethereal. Like if you are into this kind of looks, then this can be something for you. They're not hard to work with, they're very powdery, they're not emollient at all. These are more emollient, these three specifically, but they are not emollient at all. It's possible to work with them. If you like this, if it's something for you, then feel free to just grab yourself some. But I think that having so many nuances of work in the shimmers and in the mattes, and having a price of $69 for this 12 shades, it's too much. So if it was not sent to me, I probably would have skipped it. It's a palette that I feel like just passing by. So it's a release that contains some colors from previous palettes, so it's extending other palettes rather than being on its own. It can be used on its own as well, but considering my collection, for me it's an extension rather than a palette on its own. And yeah, I feel like this July release was quite going through. Like it passes, that's all. It's not giving anything that is truly exciting, truly up to the brand standard. I'm really waiting and hoping for the spooky season and how Bella will handle it. I'm really hoping that I will be able to grab some palettes one way or another. I don't really have a hope of being sent that, but that's just reality. I will probably still continue buying some of the stuff just to have it in my collection because I do like it overall. But this palette is too nuancy, too many things to consider. I'm happy to explain that, but I wouldn't have bought it with my own money, and because of that, I cannot say that I'm recommending it to you right away. So this is my personal preferences as well of how I see products, how I see things. I'm trying to be fair as well to the product itself and not only biased. So I love the brand, truly, but this product is so confusing to my brain. And maybe some people will agree to that because I know that I'm not alone in that. And for the price, 12 shades for $69. I'm so sorry, that is too much. This is too much. For what it provides, for what it gives, for what it is, that's too much. On Monolith, I believe it's going to be around 70 euros, 75 euros as well. This is hella lot. I do have a code for both of them. They give 10% on official website, 5% on Monolith. On BellaBeauteBar, I'm affiliated, so I'm getting commission from sales. On Monolith, I'm not in a PR on both of them, basically. That was probably one-time thing with this palette, but I'm grateful. I'm happy that I was able to touch and to explain these things. So my main goal is to reduce this uncertainty of buying, and I'm trying to explain how to work with the product without having this bias of I'm only working on specific base with specific technique. No, I'm truly trying to understand how this works, how I can make it accessible for others. So that's just what I came up with at the end. So this palette is no, probably not for me at the end. And if you are like me, you probably would not like it as well, unfortunately. But if you want to expand your collection, if you are okay with this type of work, with this type of shimmers and mattes, then maybe it's something that you will decide. So let me know in the comments if you are up for that, if you are really excited about this launch, if there's something that you find weird, or if you consider getting it eventually, maybe on sale or something like that. I would be happy to read anything. Maybe you will also have some stuff to tell me about the work of these things. Maybe you already got it as well, because it's been quite a while. This launches on Monolith on 16th August, and I'm not sure when I will release this video, but at least I have it. So let's have a look on all of the 3 makeups that I've created with it. Of course, this is not the limitation. You can create more, you can have a creative freedom on anything that you do, but this is what I came up with in the given time, in this short time period basically. And hopefully you also enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. I truly love to understand how the products perform, what I can do with it, how to wear it, what is best, what is not, and give my opinion on that. Of course, my opinion is subjective, not objective, and this affects a lot of other things as well. But if you are like me, maybe you will find it also similar, and maybe it will save you some money. That's the point. So, happy to be here with you, and thank you so much for watching. I hope we will see each other really soon in the next video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!